there's a whole other system to help you out, and today we're going to talk about these guys.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Welcome, students and curious minds. My name's Tarek, and today we're going to talk about the complement system. Even with all the defenses your body has that we've covered in previous lessons, like your skin, specialized cells, and all the antibodies we've discussed, there's still a much more sophisticated system that will help your body fight off many different infections. The complement system. It's made up of more than 30 different types of proteins that work together to rid your body of infections. They're found in large quantities throughout your body. Right now, over 15 quintillion proteins are swarming your body, searching for invaders. All the time, without a break. And best of all, they're super effective. So in this lesson, I'm going to try to break down this system for you in a simple way so you can understand it more easily. One important thing to mention before I start explaining this lesson is that when it comes to proteins, their shape is extremely important, since it determines what the protein can or can't do, and how and with whom it will bind. So it's very common for proteins to undergo changes in their shape so they can form new bonds that didn't exist before and alter their functions. And that's what we're going to talk about throughout this whole lesson. So let's get started. A lot of different proteins are just wandering around inside your body without much direction or purpose. And this is really important for your complement system because it's a strategy to find anything that's out of place. In this scenario, our bacterium is going to enter the body. In your bloodstream, a protein called C3 is just hanging around, minding its own business. It's always inactive and can't do any harm to others. However, either randomly or when other proteins or even antibodies activate it, it undergoes a modification. This modification will cause it to split into two proteins, C3a and C3b. C3b is kind of like a guided missile. It'll quickly attack the invaders. However, if it doesn't find any organisms, it can be neutralized by the water present in the blood. Now, assuming it does find an organism, it will attach to the membrane or cell wall and change its shape. In this new form, it can bind to another protein that floats around randomly, protein B, turning into C3bb. Notice that your body cells aren't affected by this protein's attack because they have mechanisms that prevent this protein from sticking to their membranes. So, they will never trigger this cascade of events that I'm about to describe next. Going back to C3bb, it will take on a distinct form, able to bind to a third protein called protein D, which is also floating around out there. When it does, protein D will remove part of this protein complex, changing its shape again, taking away protein D and protein BA from the whole set. The new form will be able to attach to another protein called P. So we'll have a complex called C3BBBP. In this new form, we can also call this whole complex C3 convertase. When this protein forms, it has the ability to pull more and more C3 convertase proteins to the surface where it's attached, creating more and more identical proteins on the surface of the bacterium. So we end up with hundreds of C3 convertases attached to your invader. This ends up creating a problem for it, since they're stuck to the surface, preventing it from moving. But that's not all. Remember the C3a protein I mentioned earlier? It's traveling through the bloodstream, alerting any dormant macrophage that there's an infection ahead, and that it should head over there. It follows the trail of these C3a proteins until it finds the infection. The more C3a there is along the way, the more aggressive it gets. So, following this path, it easily finds the source of the infection. As soon as the phagocytes arrive at the battlefield, they find several bacteria covered with C3 convertase and weakened. This makes it easier to phagocytose these cells, creating a sort of anchor so the phagocyte can stick to the bacterium's membrane. If that wasn't enough, C3 convertase still has another trick up its sleeve. It can still call for more help and transform into C5 convertase, which will recruit more proteins like C5b, C8, C7, and C6 that will form a structure called the membrane attack complex. This protein complex will call other spear-shaped proteins that will pierce the pathogen's membrane and create a kind of channel that stays constantly open. That way, the fluid inside the pathogen will start to leak out. Once the channel's formed, there's no way to close it again. Now, imagine thousands of these complexes doing the same thing all at once. Several holes appear in the pathogen, and literally it will empty out until it dies. So, anything that doesn't die by being phagocytosed will die through these holes. But notice that up until now, we haven't mentioned how pathogens are identified. In other words, it doesn't matter who's attacking your body, it will simply attack any pathogen that comes into contact with you. However, unfortunately, the world keeps changing and adapting to new problems, and pathogens like viruses and bacteria are no different. Some viruses have the ability to infect the cell and create substances that inhibit the complement system, creating areas where the complement system won't work. Some bacteria can even take molecules from your own blood and trick the complement system into thinking they're part of your body, making themselves invisible. That way, this system isn't able to attack them. But don't worry, like I said before, it's a complementary system. In other words, it complements your immune system. So if it fails, there are other things that can help get rid of new infections. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and share, and remember that we have a new video every week. So subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to always get the latest updates. Thank you so much.